victory. In early 1942, the Empire believed the war was already won. Across the capital city of Kiyomizu, people celebrated in the streets. Flags waved. Radios announced victory after victory. Newspapers promised a glorious future, but far away from the cheering crowds, one man was not celebrating. Fleet Admiral Isao Takemura, standing aboard his battleship at sea, looked toward the horizon and felt something very different. He felt fear, because he knew something most people did not: this war was only beginning. A commander who saw the truth, Takemura had watched the Empire's forces sweep through Luzora, Malacca, Hongnan, and the southern islands with shocking speed. Enemy bases collapsed. Fleets were destroyed. Colonies fell one after another. To politicians, this meant total victory. To Takemura, it meant danger. Supply lines were stretched thin. Pilots were dying faster than they could be trained. Ships were moving farther and farther from home. He called his senior officers together and gave a clear warning: if we do not plan what comes next, these victories will destroy us. Enemies within, inside Imperial headquarters, Takemura's caution made him unpopular. Many officers believed momentum must never stop. Expansion, they said, was the key to survival. Takemura openly disagreed. That made him dangerous. Friends quietly warned him not to stay in the capital. Radical officers had turned against anyone who questioned endless war, so Takemura remained at sea, not just as a commander, but to stay alive. He often said, "A nation that plans only for victory is already preparing for defeat." The man who knew the enemy, Takemura, was not guessing. He had lived in the West. He had walked through factories in Washington. He had seen shipyards in Launder. He understood one terrifying truth: the enemy could build ships and planes faster than Japan ever could, once their industries fully awakened. Japan would be overwhelmed. Takemura believed Japan had less than 2 years to force peace. After that, the war would be unwinnable, a risky plan. Inside the high command, arguments exploded. Some wanted to push north. Others wanted massive expansion south, even dreaming of conquering Australia and beyond. Takemura rejected both. Instead, he proposed a gamble, a single, decisive naval battle. If the enemy's aircraft carriers could be destroyed in one strike, the war might still be won. This plan became Operation MI. Failure would mean disaster, but hesitation, Takemura believed. 1942, enemy bombers reached Kiyomizu itself. The physical damage was small, the psychological damage was massive. For the first time, the people realized the homeland was not safe. Fear replaced confidence. Takemura's warning suddenly felt real. The gamble could no longer wait. Disaster at Mid-Era. The battle near Mid-Era Island was short and devastating. Enemy intelligence was better. Enemy timing was perfect. One by one, Japanese aircraft carriers burned and sank. Within hours, 4 carriers were gone. Thousands of experienced pilots disappeared beneath the sea. The government hid the truth. But within the Navy, everyone understood. The war had changed. Pushing forward anyway, despite the disaster, the Empire pushed south. Forces captured Raven. Air raid struck Darwin Bay. Troops advanced through New Guinea. But now, the enemy was learning. At the Coral Passage, an invasion was stopped. For the first time, Japan had been clearly pushed back. The tide was no longer one-directional. A small island, big danger. Intelligence soon focused on a forgotten place, Green Ridge Island. Hidden in jungle, it sat beside vital sea routes. Enemy engineers were building an airfield there. Rear Admiral Samuel Turner saw the danger immediately. If that airfield opens, He warned, "Our supply lines will die." Something had to be done. Fast, a rushed invasion, an invasion force was thrown together in weeks, training was rushed. Plans were incomplete. Vice Admiral Harold Gormley, given command, doubted the mission from the start, but delay meant losing the South completely, so the fleet sailed. The landing, before dawn on August 7, 1942, ships moved silently through rain and darkness. Carrier planes struck at first light. When troops landed on Green Ridge, they were shocked. The beaches were empty. Enemy forces had retreated into the jungle. Victory felt too easy, and that made it frightening. Jungle and sky, on nearby islands, fighting was brutal. Enemy soldiers attacked at night. They hid in caves. They refused to surrender. Above, air battles raged daily. Pilots adapted, learned, survived or died. The airfield remained contested. The fatal mistake, as night fell, a deadly gap opened. Enemy ships slipped through a narrow channel later called the Spine. No one stopped them. Command confusion. Poor reconnaissance. The calm before the storm. The invasion looked successful. Supplies filled the beaches. The airfield was nearly operational, but beneath the calm, disaster was approaching. The war in the southern seas was no longer about victory, it was about survival.